Hello vinyl community, it is Thursday the 27th of August, but as with my last video I will probably not put this up today, but maybe wait a week or so before uploading it. A lot of stuff to show, so I'll try not to stay too long on each item. I'll try and kind of get through them quickly enough because there's a lot to show. And I don't want my battery running out again like with the last video. Discogs purchase. 2001, A Space Odyssey, the soundtrack Stanley Kubrick's 1968 science fiction masterpiece. One of my favourite science fiction films ever. I saw it when I was about 12. Wanted this movie soundtrack for a long time. I actually had this in my hands. Some of you may recall myself and Ben Costello. We made a couple of videos where we went to this place in the countryside where we went digging among 10,000 vinyl records. I actually had this in my hand down there, and I put it in a pile of stuff which I meant to take with me, but I forgot it. Left it behind, unfortunately. Anyway, got it on Discogs. Yeah, seminal movie and seminal use of music of classical music in a movie soundtrack. This includes Gheorghe Ligeti's Atmospheres, which is also included in an album, an avant-garde classical album which I got recently called Orchestral Space, but yeah, love that artwork as well. So finally have that in my hands. It was shown recently by Freddie Big Star, not too long ago. Okay, so record fair. Now in my last video I showed quite a record fair haul. Went to another one, only picked up one item, was a bit broke. Yeah, so this is David Bowie in Bertolt Brecht's Ball. This is one of his lesser known and kind of slightly neglected offerings. This came out in 1982. And it's the soundtrack to a BBC TV production of Ball, which was an opera by Bertolt Brecht, written in I think 20s. I'm not 100% sure of the date. So this is pretty brief. It's quite a short album. So it came out in the RCA 82. This is a German pressing. I'm a big fan of Bowie, and I also like big admirer of Brecht and Bertolt Brecht and that kind of period, you know, that German Weimar period. So this is an interesting pickup, and one of the kind of maybe slightly overlooked items in the Bowie discography. Next item, something which you're all familiar with this one, but it's something which I didn't have. Peter Gabriel. This is number 4, isn't it? Yeah, this is number 4 of his self-titled albums. It's from 1980. So I picked this up cheaply. The reason I picked it up cheaply is because there's actually something, you can see that there, that little mark. It's like I don't know what it's like a burn, maybe a cigarette, maybe somebody stubbed out a cigarette on it or something, but it kind of affects of Normal Life, the second last song on side 2. So it kind of, there's like a horrible kind of a noise, so just just have to lift the needle and kind of skip that one. But it picks it for a couple of minutes, for maybe a minute or so. But yeah, so seminal album. I don't really need to go into this because I'm sure most of you have it already, or are pretty familiar with it. But another relatively cheap pickup, which I made, was this Issac Hayes, To Be Continued, from 1971. This isn't in great condition. The sleeve, there's a big split there in the spine, and there's a few marks on it that look kind of nasty enough, but it plays well enough. There's a bit of surface noise for a few minutes, but it plays better than it looks, basically. Picked it up fairly cheaply. You don't see the Stax label here very often where I come from, so and it's probably pretty common in the States and elsewhere, but you don't see it around here quite a lot. So this came out the same year as his soundtrack movie to Shaft, which I also have. Great cover. So this is great tracks on here. Our Day Will Come. I'm sure that's sampled on something. I think it possibly might have been sampled by Massive Attack, perhaps. But yeah, so Issac Hayes on the Stax label, To Be Continued. Now, next pickup is something. It's a fairly recent release, but it's something I picked up in my local independent record store. They as I've said before, they have a section there where they kind of a discount section where they have stuff which they've had for a while which has failed to sell, where they sell it at a discount. So this is an album which came out in 2013. It is by an outfit called Sculpture, who basically consists of two individuals. One guy is English and one guy from New Zealand. Very kind of experimental, electronic, heavy use of analog synthesizers. This is a limited edition of 500 copies on green vinyl. It's kind of dark green vinyl, more like kind of olive colour. That doesn't show up very well there under the light, but it is green, I can assure you. Yeah, so this is so interesting stuff. If you like kind of weird, kind of experimental, electronic kind of stuff, and if you like, kind of sound of kind of analog synthesizer, kind of retro sound, you'll enjoy this. Interesting artwork as well on the labels, and also on the back there. It came out on Digitalis. So there we go. Now, next up, there's a charity shop here in town where I've often made a lot of very nice pickups in the past. I've shown a lot of them here in some of my videos. I made a very big score there last year, where there was a big donation. Picked up a load of 90s stuff, stuff on the Warp label, LFO's debut album, and picked up stuff by The Cure, and vinyl edition of Depeche Mode's Violator, stuff like that, load of great stuff. But anyway, I've made another big haul there. They got in another big donation, which included a lot of Tangerine Dream. Now, Carm, you did a video specifically for Ben Costello recently, where you showed a lot of kind of Tangerine Dream, kind of post 1980s stuff. Now, I picked up several of those albums. Now, 3 of them I gave to Ben Costello as VCLT, because I knew he was specifically looking for them, including Exit, Live Miles, and what was the other one? Live in London, 82, I think. Anyway, I kept 2 of them myself. Now, one of them is a 70s album from 76, but it is an 80s repressing. But that is Stratosphere. This is the one I've been looking for. Here we go. Now, all of the items in this particular, that this person donated from this collection, they're all in absolutely perfect condition. A lot of them look barely played. As you can see there, it's like really kind of, I didn't barely need to clean any of these items or anything, because they really look well looked after. The sleeves and the discs, they're absolutely perfect. This is an 80s reissue on that later green and red label of Stratosphere, which originally came out in 26. Very happy to pick this up, because this is one that I had been looking for. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Okay. The other one I picked up, it's one that I had heard kind of mixed things about this one, but it's one that I never actually listened to, but it's Tiger from 87. Yeah, this one's kind of disappointing. It deploys, it was one of their first album, I think, well, I don't know if it's their very first, but it was the first one in a long time anyway, to deploy vocals. So they're female vocals, Jocelyn Bernadette Smith. Yeah, not crazy about this one. Interesting inner sleeve, by the way. The word is rap. Offer ends 31st of January 1988. Sorry, Ben Costello, you're too late for the rap offer. 9th January 1988. That would have been round about my 14th birthday, I think. Yeah. Okay, well, it was early in January anyway, my birthday. But anyway, yes, that's Tigers. Kind of disappointing. Not one of their better ones, no, it has to be said. Now, the rest of the stuff that I picked up as part of this charity shop haul, I'll just go through kind of quickly. Space, the very best of Space. Space, that French group, kind of electronic disco pioneers from the late 70s. They had a big hit with Magic Fly. Unfortunately, the version of Magic Fly featured on this compilation is not the original, it's an 80s remix. This is a compilation from 1985, which came out on Record Shack Records. Love that cover. Still a nice find, even if it doesn't, have the original version of Magic Fly. There's a lot of other great stuff on here. So, and again, as with all the other stuff here, it's in really excellent condition, really well looked after. Okay. And now these two compilations which I picked up here, two early 80s comps. This is Crucial Electro. This came out on Street Sounds. It's part of a series of albums released between 83 and 84. Features early kind of hip-hop electro. This one includes Africa Bambaata's Planet Rock, which is, you know, one of the real kind of you know, seminal early kind of electro hip-hop tunes. So the other one is Electro 2, part of the same series. This one came out in 83. This includes White Lines by Grandmaster Flash, or rather Grandmaster and Mel Mel as they're credited here. Lots of other kind of seminal early 80s electro. So this is a great party record. You know, this is great stuff on here. Moving on to later in the 80s, this is one I remember from my teenage years. Mars, Pump Up the Volume from 1987, big hit back then, seminal kind of dance, techno house record, and it came out on the 4AD label. This is a remix 12-inch version. So this kind of brought me back to my teenage years. This one, bit of nostalgia. Here's another one from the 80s. Lil Louis, French Kiss, big kind of acid house tune from 1989. This is an EP featuring both the original version and various remixes. So this one was kind of notorious for it's kind of, you know, featuring kind of bringing female orgasm sounds to the into the charts, basically. So it was a bit controversial when it came out. Now this one is by a guy who I normally avoid, I have to say. He's one of these kind of one of these guys you see a lot in charity shops, and his name is normally enough to kind of make me skip over. But this is one which I just could not leave behind when I saw the cover. Sorry, it's just finding it a bit hard to take it out of the sleeve here. Shit. It's kind of stuck inside of the sleeve, plastic sleeve. Okay, fuck it. Jeff Love and his orchestra, Star Wars and other space themes. So you're all familiar with Jeff Love, aka Manuel and the Music of the Mountains. Easy listening. You see him in charity shops all the time. Normally avoid like the plague, but this one with that cover, I just couldn't leave this behind. And it's actually, you know, it's where is it stuck? It's kind of stuck inside the. Okay. Yeah, it's just kind of, there's some kind of sticky stuff on the cover which is making it stick, and I can't get it out. Anyway, Covers the Star Wars theme, music, kind of a disco version of the Doctor Who theme, Star Trek theme. Yeah, silly, kind of fun, and just a great cover. Next two items were completely unexpected. Kreator, German thrash metal from the 80s. This is something which completely took me by surprise. This is very collectible. It comes with all the inserts, including the inner picture sleeve and this kind of mail order postcard, and the disc, the vinyl looks like it's absolutely never been played. It's just in pretty much near mint condition. I'm still kind of considering what to do with this. I might just end up flipping this, or yeah, I'm kind of undecided. But very nice find indeed. I mean, it probably wouldn't be my cup of tea personally, but it's just something, you know, that you just do not expect to find in a charity shop. And also, in the same vein, is this thrash metal compilation album, Stars on Thrash. Also from the late 80s, includes Slayer, a few other bands I'm kind of familiar with, SOD, Stormtroopers of Death. Yeah, a lot of names are kind of familiar for the kind of thrash metal kind of thing. Inner picture sleeve as well with that one. Okay, last vinyl item is a 7-inch Ben Costello and Carm. You're familiar with these guys. Japan, The Art of Parties, David Sylvian and Co. And this has a very nice sleeve. It folds out and into a kind of a cross, and each part of the cruciform has a picture of a band member. So there we go, there's David Sylvian, and there's the rest of the guys there. And it's a bit awkward. Go. And there's a single in the middle. So now David Sylvian gets two pictures. Very nice item. Okay, now the CDs. I did a video where I found where I showed a kind of a big charity shop CD haul. I showed half of them in a previous video, but the rest of them I meant to show in my last video, but the camera batteries ran out, so I'm going to kind of briefly run through the rest of them. So these are all items which I found in a charity shop as part of a massive haul. I've already shown half of them, this is the other half. So starting now, Philip Glass, his soundtrack to the Bela Lugosi Dracula movie, which was recorded especially in the late 90s. Polygon Window, aka Aphex Twin, Richard D. James. Surfing on Cine Waves from 1992, that is on Warp. Very nice find. Music for Films 3, Eno, and featuring various Roger Eno and Daniel Lanois, etc. This is a fantastic album. This is one of the highlights of that particular find. And also, as was this, David Byrne, The Catherine Wheel, the complete score from the Broadway production of The Catherine Wheel. This is pretty rare, this CD. This is quite hard to find, and it is only on CD that you can find the complete version of this album. The vinyl version is a shortened version. Fatima Mansions, lost in the former West. Fatima Mansions, led by Cathal Coughlan, who is a Cork man. He is from here in Cork, and he used to be frontman of a Cork band, Micro Disney. This Fatima Mansions is the project that he did after that. David Sylvian and Holger Zuke, Flux and Mutability, one of those ambient albums that they did in the late 80s. David Sylvian, Gone to Earth. Fatima Mansions again, Viva Dead Ponies. The Incredible String Band, The Hangman's Beautiful Daughter. Been looking for this one. Nice find. David Sylvian again, Approaching Silence. And David Sylvian's Spirit of the Beehive. I already have this on vinyl. And I already have this on vinyl too, Oil and Canvas, Japan. Philip Glass again. I'm not going to pronounce it. It's a soundtrack to a documentary. Steve Reich. This is one of the highlights of the find of the vinyl haul. Steve Reich, early works. It's Gonna Rain, drumming. No, clapping rather. Clapping. Clapping music. So Steve Reich. Genesis, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, double CD. Patti Smith, Easter, second album. John Cage, Sonatas and Interludes for Prepared Piano. David Sylvian and Fripp. This is a single. Darshan. Dead Can Dance. Aeon. Lovely album, this. Fantastic album from 1990 on 4AD. And Gavin Bryars. Gavin Bryars, who's closely associated with Eno. Farewell to Philosophy. And Passengers, original soundtracks 1, Eno and U2. And Nightmares on Wax, Car Boot Soul on Warp. And finally Bowie Hunky Dory, which I also have on vinyl. Okay, so that's it. 28 minutes, gonna leave it at that. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.